Hi, my name is Jason, and I'm the Ticketing and Producer Services Manager here at Midsumma Festival. I would like to welcome you to this digital info session, which is all about digital events as part of Midsumma Festival. Today's session, we will discuss why you might consider a digital event, the types of digital platforms that might be right for you, the process of registering a digital event, and some other important considerations. So whether you have a lot of experience presenting digital work or whether you're a live performance artist that's considering a digital presentation for the first time, this info session will have helpful information for you. Throughout the presentation, I'll also be providing image descriptions. Currently, it's just me on screen facing the camera with a white background behind me. I am a 30-year-old man with black hair, a black moustache, and I'm wearing a pale pink jumper. I would like to begin by acknowledging that ownership of these lands was never ceded and pay respects to all First Peoples of Australia, especially the Kulin Nation, on which the audience and artists of Midsumma Festival gather and celebrate our communities. This slide features an image of Crystal Kickett of the Marindas. They are an Indigenous artist with long black hair in a ponytail, wearing a sequin blue dress, holding a microphone and smiling. The photographer credit is Jay Forsyth. So, as we all know, COVID-19 has made a lot of things unpredictable, and it's really hard for us to predict what the restrictions will look like in April and May of 2021. So we really want to support our community during this time, and Midsumma is planning on being as flexible as possible. We want to work with you, our producers and artists and communities, to make sure that Midsumma is the best it can possibly be for 2021. Recently, a lot of festivals and events have made the jump to digital, and the willingness to adapt has been really incredible. As an open access festival, Midsumma don't run any events outside of our Midsumma Presents program. So we can't decide the best way for you to present your event, but we can support you in making the right decision. We will endeavour to provide you with advice, information and resources to help you make the best decision for your event. But remember that your Midsumma event should never compromise the safety of you or your audience. So make sure you keep up to date with the latest government advice at vic.gov.au/coronavirus. And also make sure you look at the resources on the Midsumma website, which will be continuously updated. Currently on the screen, there is an image of a drag performer, Frock Hudson. They're smiling with rainbow-coloured hair, bright blue eye makeup, and a slim beard. The photographer is Suzanne Balding. So why might you consider taking your event online? Well, at the moment, the digital space is really thriving due to restrictions from COVID-19, and digital events certainly do present a lot of benefits. For example, they allow artists to be really collaborative and creative. A digital event can allow you to engage artists from all around the world in your event. A digital event can also broaden your audience, allowing anyone to tune in regardless of their location. Digital events can also break down barriers to access and allow you to provide more accessibility services for your audience. There are many safety benefits as well, particularly around social distancing, and they can also reduce your venue costs. This slide features an image of Betty Bombshell, a burlesque performer in a red two-piece costume with a cape and gold headband. Their tattooed arms are raised above their head. The photographer is Tanya McCulloch. Now, a digital event is not just limited to a Zoom call. There are many ways that you could present your art digitally. So let's go through some of the different formats that could work best for your event. Firstly, let's discuss live streams. So as most of us know, a live stream event allows an audience to watch an event live as it is happening, but it's important to note that there are two main types of live streams. There's interactive and then non-interactive. So an interactive live stream allows the audience to actively engage or participate with the event. For example, this could be a panel discussion where the audience can ask questions. It could be an open mic event where the audience can share their work, or it could be a workshop or class. And this format could be completely live, or it could be a combination of live and pre-recorded material. Next up, a non-interactive live stream allows the audience to watch the event live, but they aren't able to participate or actively engage in the event in a hands-on way, although they can generally engage in an integrated chat. This type of event could be a DJ set, it could be a comedy show or theatre piece, it could be a music or cabaret performance. The options are really endless. And this format can also be pre-recorded, live, or it could be a combination of both. Now, in terms of platforms, Zoom is obviously a very popular platform for live streaming, but there are many other options, such as Crowdcast, Twitch, YouTube Live, and Facebook Live. But keep in mind that some of these platforms do require a subscription, for example, Zoom or Crowdcast, whereas others are free to use, like Twitch and Facebook Live. So please note that Midsumma does not restrict which platform you choose to use, so you're able to select the option that works best for you. You could also consider a video on demand event. So this type of event allows the audience to choose when and where they want to stream your pre-recorded event. This could be a film screening, a theatre or comedy show, or a music performance that has been pre-recorded. Video on demand platforms that are popular include Vimeo or YouTube, but there are many other streaming platforms available that you could use. And what you can do is make your video private and then provide the link to the ticket buyers once they have purchased a ticket. And generally, we would advise that you only make the video available during Midsumma. You could also consider an audio event. And this event is purely audio and can either be live streamed or accessed on demand. For example, it could be a pod play, a radio play, or a podcast stream, or a live music radio stream. Platforms could include SoundCloud or Facebook Live Audio or YouTube. Another really popular type of digital event is a live gaming experience. And this could include a gaming tournament or a gaming stream or group gaming. And popular platforms for this include Twitch and Facebook Live. You might also want to consider, if you're engaged in visual art, you could consider a digital exhibition. And this would allow you to present your art in an online medium. For example, a collection of photography, paintings, or any other digital art, or potentially a digital zine fair. And platforms for digital exhibitions are really varied and open, so you can really use any digital blog platform that suits your art. And finally, you might want to consider a text, social media, or phone experience. And this is a more creative format if you really want to let your imagination run wild. So this format can create a really intimate and unique experience for the audience using potentially text messages or social media or even a old school telephone call. So yeah, it really allows you to present something that's very outside of the box in terms of a digital event. So once you've chosen the format that works best for your event, there are some other important considerations to think about. Firstly, the platform that you choose to use. This will majorly impact how you present your event. And we have touched on a few of the different platforms that you could use, but it's really important for you to deep dive into your own research. Look at the pros and cons of each platform versus what you want to achieve. And if you do need some guidance, get in touch with the Midsumma team and we can provide some advice. Next up, think about whether your event needs to be performed live or whether it can be pre-recorded. What's going to work best for your event? Perhaps you could utilize a combination of live and pre-recorded material. Figure out what works best for you, your artists, and your audience as well. Next up, think about what equipment you need. If you're live streaming from your computer, do you need a more elaborate camera setup? Do you need a microphone? Make sure that you have the right setup for your event. Next up, think about audience involvement. So if you're having an interactive event, think about what the protocol for the audience is. How are they interacting and how are you communicating their role to them? It's also important to think about copyright. each platform has its own terms and conditions. So it's important that you familiarize yourself with them, especially around the use of copyrighted music, because this does tend to differ between platforms. So make sure you do some solid research on that. This slide features an image of DJ Hip Hop Ho. They have curly brown hair and a pair of headphones around their neck. They are playing music from behind their decks. The photographer is Tanya McCulloch. If you've chosen a streaming format for your event, make sure you consider all of the important logistical elements and make sure you prepare accordingly. So think about your internet capabilities. Do you have a fast, stable connection at the location you plan to stream the event? This is very important. A bandwidth of 4 megabits per second is considered the minimum for live streaming. However, higher is generally recommended. You can test your bandwidth at speedtest.net. Make sure you ensure you have a plan if your internet drops out. For example, having a 4G hotspot device as a backup. It's super important to test everything before your event, so make sure you test it once, test it again, then test it one more time just to be extra sure. And also, with a lot of moving parts involved in live streaming events, it can sometimes become overwhelming. So if you do feel like you need some assistance on the day, you might consider engaging a technical support assistant that can help you with any technical issues that arise during the performance, which will then allow you to focus on the other aspects of the performance. This slide features an image of a rectangular red sign that is illuminated and features the word live in white letters. Let's now talk about digital accessibility. So a digital event offers a great opportunity to make your event as accessible as possible. You can utilize a number of access services to enhance your event and help reduce the barriers for audience members to participate. So let's discuss some of the services that you might consider. Firstly, let's talk about Auslan interpretation. So this is for members of the deaf community who use Australian Sign Language as their primary or preferred language of communication. Midsumma usually work with Auslan Stage Left for our Auslan interpretation services, and their prices can vary depending on the nature of your event. So if you are looking to engage some Auslan interpretation, get in touch with Auslan Stage Left. There's also captioning. So if your event is a scripted performance, film, or presented online, it may lend itself better to captioning for audiences who are deaf or hard of hearing. Audio description is also something to consider. So this is the practice of adding a narrative layer for a patron, helping describe visuals or unspoken elements of an event or performance. So this can be utilized digitally, although it's best to talk to a provider for advice around this. A pre-recorded event might be more suited than a live stream. Description Victoria is a great audio description organisation. They can provide description services, and they're also really great at consultancy. So if you are looking at incorporating this into your event, I'd recommend checking them out. Some other considerations, strobe effects or fast transitions can be very inaccessible to people. So if you have these as part of your event, it would be a good idea to have a warning at the start. Speaking of warnings, you should also have any content warnings for things that might be confronting or triggering for an audience. So make sure you have those warnings at the beginning of your event. You can also include them in your event listing. An extra bonus if you provide an accessible service is that Midsumma will promote your event to the community that requires that service. So that's just a bit of extra promotion for you and your event there. I'd also recommend checking out our Access and Inclusion info session. There's another digital info session that's available on our website, and that goes into a lot more detail about all of these access services. So I definitely recommend watching that next. Okay, so now let's talk about ticketing. With a digital event, there are some different ticketing options that differ slightly from traditional in-person events. So we'll break down those options for you now. Firstly, there is the traditional fixed price structure. So this is basically a set price for your event. For example, a $20 full price ticket and then a $15 concession. So this is pretty standard. We're all pretty used to this traditional fixed price structure. Next up is a scaled price structure. So this allows the ticket buyer to choose their own ticket price. So there'll be various options, for example, a $25 ticket, then $20, then $15, $10, $5. And the ticket buyer is able to select what price they want to pay. Next up is a tips or donation structure. So this means that booking a ticket to the event is free, and then the audience are prompted to tip or make a donation during the event or after the event using a money transfer service like PayPal. Midsumma can actually also send a follow-up email to ticket holders after the event just to remind them to make a tip or donation, and we can include payment details. You can also combine the scaled price structure with this tips and donation structure. So the ticket buyer can choose their own price, and then you can also prompt them to tip or donate during the event and after the event as well. So that's another option. And then finally is a free event. So that's just simply a free event. There is no cost to attend, and that's pretty simple. Or if you have an alternative ticketing request, a different sort of structure that you would prefer, get in touch with us and we'll see what's possible. Another thing to note is that as a Midsumma event, you are required to ticket your event through our ticketing provider, which is Event Finder. So we help you set that up, but it is a requirement as a Midsumma event that you have to ticket through Event Finder. An image description on this slide as well. There is a red Admit 1 ticket. Okay, so now let's quickly discuss registration fees. So as you may know, Midsumma are offering a 50% discount on registration fees for the first 100 events to register for Midsumma Festival 2021. This is really exciting as it allows us to make participation in Midsumma more financially accessible. But it is important to note that this discount is limited to 2 events per producer. Okay, now on the screen, I've got our registration fees with the discount calculated. So feel free to hit pause to see which fee applies to your event. But also note that these fees can be found on the Midsumma website in our resources section. So these fees are for both physical and digital events. It's the same structure for physical and digital events. And Midsumma has a scaled registration fee structure depending on how many sessions you're presenting of your event and also if you're charging for tickets. We also have a standard registration price and then a price for community groups and independent practitioners. So have a look at that table and see which registration fee will apply for your event. Now, once you've finalized your event registration, you'll have to get in touch with us before you make your final payment so that we can apply your discount. So just email us via events@midsumma.org.au and we'll apply that discount for you. Also to remember, important to remember that your registration fee must be paid in order to completely finalize your event. And the latest deadline to do this is the 14th of December 2020. So we're almost at the end of this info session, and we're going to finish up by quickly talking about registering your event in our event registration platform, which is Eventatron. Now, Eventatron is the place to start a registration for all Midsumma events. So if you registered an event in 2020, you'll already have a login. If not, just create one. It's really simple. Now, we really recommend that you start your registration as soon as possible because there are a few important benefits. Firstly, it allows us to see that you're interested in presenting an event. It puts you on our radar and also allows us to see what progress you've made and if you might need some support. And it also allows you to see the registration process. You can pop in the information that you already know, and then you'll be able to see what's missing, what you still need to work on, and you'll get a better idea of what's required to finish up the event registration process. So when it comes to selecting your venue for a digital event, it's really simple. Just select the venue that's titled Digital Event. That will communicate to us that you're hosting a digital presentation, and we'll be able to touch base with you to get more specifics. You can also add in additional information about accessing your event in your online description. So for example, if a link is going to be emailed to ticket buyers, you can communicate that in your online description. Now, these are just the basics, and we go into a lot more detail in another info session. So you can find that info session on event registration just in the Midsumma resources page. There's a section with all of our info sessions. So if you want a more in-depth look at the event registration process, check out that info session, and that will provide you with lots of helpful information. Okay, well, that brings us to the end of this info session on digital events at Midsumma Festival. The very last thing I'd like to remind you of is that we do have lots and lots of resources on the Midsumma website. So I do encourage you to head there and have a look at all of those resources that cover a real broad spectrum of topics about participating in Midsumma Festival. Now, if you do have any questions about digital events or about any other aspect of participating in Midsumma, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team. You can contact us via email. Just email through to events@midsumma.org.au, or you can give us a call on 03 9296 6600. And we would really love to chat to you about participating in Midsumma Festival. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this digital info session. I really hope you found it helpful. And I look forward to helping you with your event registration for Midsumma Festival 2021.